Everybody, what's going on? So today in this episode, this is going to be a part one of 3 episodes that I'm going to do on this topic. This is the summertime bass fishing videos that I wanted to make like a couple weeks ago, but I just never got to it. So I've learned something. So the other day, when I caught that big bass on the slammer worm, me and Big Bait Baker were also catching some small bluegill to put in my pond. And something we actually had happen to us was we caught a couple bass and we caught a bunch of small, tiny bluegill. As you guys seen, we caught a couple bluegill that were literally the same size as this. And we put them in our pond. We actually caught 25 of small bluegill, small little juvenile bluegill, perfect size for bass food. And today I was out there and I watched a bluegill, or I seen a bluegill up really shallow, and there was the 4-pound bass that's in there was sitting there waiting for this bluegill to come out of the water or come back into like the deeper water. And this bluegill swam out into the deeper water, and this bass completely destroyed this bluegill. And I got to thinking, all right, I think it's time to make a shallow water fishing video. So that's what we're doing here today. So as you guys know, some of you guys do and some of you guys don't. I am one of the most, what's the word I want to say? I don't like buzzbaits, just to put it simple. I don't like buzzbaits, but I'm going to throw it in here because if I don't, somebody's going to say, hey, where's the buzzbait? Go on, go lay down. No. You're paying attention to this. But yeah, buzzbait, I personally don't like it, but a lot of people do, so I figured I'd throw it in there anyway. Next is a buzzing frog, or any kind of frog. This here is a black Docks Lure Company buzzing frog. Works awesome on buzzbaits, actually. I tried it once on a different buzzbait that I had. It wasn't a very good buzzbait, but the trailer actually helped it stabilize a lot better. So, yeah. So when you're fishing shallow, I try to imitate 2 of 3 things, mainly. I mainly imitate 2 of 3 things. I don't imitate crawfish because there's just too much grass around here to do it. But bluegill, shad, and frogs are the main 3 that I try to imitate. If I'm out there and I'm seeing them busting on shad, I'll throw a shad bait, but most of the time I'll already have like a bluegill or a frog bait on. So, like I just said, a frog bait. Now, I love throwing frogs in the summertime. You can't beat it. You just can't. The big, huge blow-ups coming straight up through that mat. You know, I think it was last year or a couple years ago. I don't even remember. I've been bass fishing for 5 years now, and I didn't even realize that until today. But a couple years ago, when I caught my first bass on a frog, it was September something. I don't exactly remember the date. But I was sitting there, and I was throwing it was a Spro popping frog on a mat, and I was sitting there and I was just slowly twitching it on that mat, and I let it sit there for a second, and a bass hit that frog so hard that the bass literally came up probably about head height. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it looked like it came up about head height. Plus, I was sitting on a downhill like thing, so probably wasn't. Probably only came out of the water about 2 feet, but it looked like it was head height when it first came out of the water. And I literally set the hook while it was in air and pulled that fish about 10 feet to me. And it was just hilarious, and that's why I like throwing frogs now. So, little Ozark Trail frog is a really good bait. So next, we're going to go ahead and talk about the 4 reaction style baits that I have here on the table. One of them is a square bill. So this is a 1.5 square bill in the sexy blueback herring color. Really good bait. Now, the 2 colors I throw is either the Strike King color natural brim or this color here. This is, like I said, the sexy blueback herring. It's kind of a dull color compared to some colors that people throw, and that's why I really like it. It looks different compared to like a chartreuse sexy shad or a citrus shad or something like that. So next is a swim jig, or a hybrid jig like this one here is. This one here works perfect to imitate bluegill. It works great to also imitate crawfish if you're fishing a little bit deeper water or where there's no grass. Works good for that as well. Just a great little jig. Next is two soft plastic reaction baits. Number one is a Docks Lure Company Drop Shot Minnow. I really like this weightless rig, just fishing it like a fluke. Anybody who's ever fished a fluke knows they work. Then a Docks Lure Company 4-inch swim bait works awesome on just a normal EWG swim bait hook with a little spring lock thing. I don't know if you all know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you do. But the little spring lock hook works awesome for these, whether you do it weightless or with a keel weight on the hook. It works good. So another square bill that I really like to throw, if I can try not to hit the ceiling fan, is this square bill right here. It's very hard to maneuver a 7-foot rod in a room that's about 8 foot wide. Actually, it's about 7.5 foot wide. It's very hard to move a 7-foot rod in this little room. But a 2.5 in like a crawl pattern works really good. This is an orange belly crawl color. I actually just got this one today, actually. It's a really nice rod, a really nice lure. This is actually a new rod and reel. I'm going to do a review of this whole setup here pretty soon. But next is a flipping setup. Now, anyone who knows like the way I like to fish knows I like throwing topwater. But if I can't throw topwater, I'm going to flip heavy cover just because it's a lot of fun. You know, big line, you know, this one right here, I'll show you here in a second, 50-pound braid to 65-pound braid. That's usually the lightest I'll go is 50. So little beaver baits like this one here, or the Docks Lure Company Flat Runner works awesome as well. Another really good flipping bait is if I can get it off here and show y'all, the Docks Lure Company Dragon Worm. Rigged 1/2 ounce bullet weight, pegged 1/2 ounce bullet weight, 3/0 EWG with just a nice little dragon worm on there. Works awesome. This is also a really good follow-up bait. If you have a follower or a miss on a square bill. I was actually out fishing once right after I debuted these baits, and I had one come up and miss a square bill, and I pitched, I think it was actually the green pumpkin color. I pitched one just like this on the exact same rod and reel combo and everything, and pitched it out there and ended up catching that fish. It was only about a 10-inch long fish, but it bit the worm anyway. So, any of y'all wanting a really good flipping, pitching, weightless rig, wacky rig, basically you can use it for just about anything. That is a really good multi-purpose lure. So, thank you guys for watching. There will be a part 2 and a part 3 of this video. So, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know down in the comments what other baits you would put in this video. If you had a couple baits that I didn't mention in this video that you like throwing in shallow water, let me know. Bye.